Alright, welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen, to another episode of Let's Play Donkey Kong Country with XEO the Paradigm Gamer. One thing I should note about these water levels is that right off the bat, there's usually an on-guard hidden in the wall somewhere, which is good because, you know, you only have so many water levels and I already lost him. Oh. That's what you call fortuitous happenstance right there. So we're gonna get rid of these bite size and go after the Kong letters. Another thing to note about the water levels is that they have no bonus rooms in them. So you can just focus on beating the level and getting all the Kong letters and whatnot. There is at least one stage that has a scrapbook photo hidden in it. But beyond that, you know, it's pretty simple. You know, you don't have to worry about bonus rooms in these levels, which is something I wish I could say about Donkey Kong Land, because the fucking water levels in that game suck. Really badly. Like, that's why it's a good thing they made the sprites smaller for this version, because if you try playing Donkey Kong Land 1 on the Game Boy with those full-size SNES sprites, and you will wish that they had made them smaller, because... Jeez, guys. I am planning on, like, when I eventually do come back to do the Game Boy Color game, review that on Remake, Rebreak, I am planning on doing kind of a DKC Revisited, where I'll just sort of briefly talk about some of the stuff I even already mentioned in this Let's Play about, you know, footage quality and input lag and stuff like that. There is a photograph down here. Isn't there? I must be thinking of a different level. But yeah, I think that's it for now. That's Clam City. Alright, upon doing some analysis, I've discovered that I did indeed miss a scrapbook photo in this level, but it was not where I thought it was. Some of these can be pretty well hidden, and since this level's pretty short, and I do not have to actually beat it in order to grab something. Again, something that Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze don't seem to fucking understand, that I should not have to re-beat the level again in order to grab something. All that does is slow down the game. I'm not sure how they managed to screw that up when, you know, the originals had it down pat just fine and nobody ever complained about it being that way. But somewhere around here there is a Clambo on the wall that we can phase through, and behind him is the scrapbook photo. These clams are out for blood. These enemies, I always found them kind of strange. They like they have eyeballs in their mouth and weird snake tongues. Ah, that's the one. Yeah, so it's about halfway through the stage. And just like that, we can leave, and then that's it. We don't have to finish the level or do any stupid crap like that. You just walk in, grab what you need, and take a hike. I haven't even got one thing left, so don't bother asking. Games never looked like this when I was a swinging lad. The Orangutan Gang find the last laugh by tailing a barrel. Grab them extra life balloons quick, or they'll float away. That's all there is to it. Piece of cake, if you ask me. By the way, you might have noticed that there is a wolf on the wall and a little safari hat. I believe those are references to Rare's game Saber Wolf. Want some dance fun? Just jump in the barrel. You keep coming back for more. Let's see if you can keep up with me this time. Now it's gonna get a little harder. By the way, one thing I haven't mentioned about the graphics is there are some sprites and models that are new for this game, and you can definitely tell the difference between something that was originally rendered for SNES and something that was rendered for this. Like, these character models look way different from the ones, like, if you look at some of the old renders for Donkey Kong Country and SNES, and look at how terrible Donkey Kong looks when he has a higher resolution image to his name. And then you look at these ones, and obviously there's the dithering and whatnot for the Game Boy Advance screen that looks, you know, fine on the little 2-inch LCD screen. But you can tell that these are different character models that they're using, and that's gonna be a pattern we're gonna find with the later games as well. So yeah, that's enough to nab us the scrapbook photo for this round of the game. And yeah, I did realize as I got further in my practice run that there is one scrapbook photo that requires us to get every single one of those commands perfect. And that could be challenging. Oh, we got another Ramby thingy-dingy going on here. Alright, so one thing I should mention is, as I was getting back into Donkey Kong Land earlier, is that, oh yeah, I said, yeah, I do plan on doing some kind of little revisits where I talk about, you know, Game Boy Player kind of biased, how those reviews turned out, especially for the Donkey Kong Land games. I am curious to play them in like an emulator, like Visual Boy Advance, and see if I like them any different. Because, you know, again, input lag, it'll fuck you over. And on that topic of the Game Boy Player and whatnot, a lot of people were telling me about the Game Boy interface, which is it's basically homebrew software that takes control of your Game Boy Player and lets you do stuff like, you know, force 240p resolution and stuff like that. Well, see, the problem with that is that, so first of all, that's gonna be inferior to what I've got anyway. Like the DS capture card, I'm gonna get much better footage quality out of that just because of the simple fact that it's pure digital and there's no analog conversion going on. If I have to go through the GameCube, then, unless if I have like a special HDMI mod or thingy for my GameCube, which I don't, then it has to be converted to an analog, it has to be converted to analog, and while those conversions are usually pretty high quality, in fact, in some cases I think it actually makes GameCube games look a little bit better, or maybe just because I'm used to them looking that way. But you know, if you're going for a component, even if you're lucky enough to have one of those hyper expensive component video cables for your GameCube, which are, you know, kind of irrelevant because you could just play it on a Wii and get, you know, perfectly fine looking footage to begin with. I don't have that for my, and you know, obviously the Game Boy Player only works with the regular GameCube. It's not going to work with your Wii, because there's a special plugin on the bottom of the GameCube that does not exist on the Wii. And so let's say I had the component cables for the GameCube, and I had the Game Boy interface homebrew for my Game Boy Player. Even then, it still would be the inferior choice because A, it's being converted from digital to analog back to digital again for the video, and B, you know, I'm fortunate enough to have a FrameMeister, so I could upscale that. If I forced it to 240p, I could upscale it and get something that looks pretty close to this, but at that point, I'm already like stringing like 3 pieces of hardware together in order to get the footage I need. And with the FrameMeister, it would reduce input lag. So I guess it might be an okay option for, you know, Game Boy games, but even then, I just like, what I really like about the DS capture card, and why I think it is the best way to get footage for Game Boy Advance. And I hope I didn't miss anything, because I am prone to forgetfulness. Yeah, I missed something. Oh yeah, I know what I missed. I missed it in my practice playthrough as well. It's right at the beginning of the stage. My guess is that bonus barrel probably... No. Okay, so... dodge all these naughties and just carry this forward. There will eventually be a wall, and then you go right through it, and that's the bonus room. But, you know... The footage quality I'm gonna get out of the DS capture card is better, for one thing, and I can upscale it however I want, and, you know, use nearest neighbor / point sampling to get that razor sharp pixel look that I love oh so much. But beyond that, I don't have to worry about digital analog conversion. I can play on the original form factor, and I also have the original LCD screen for reference, which is important, I think. in terms of figuring out what these games are supposed to look like, how they were meant to be viewed. And it's something that I think a lot of people forget, like even I forget sometimes, especially with like Nintendo 64 games, which were meant to have a bunch of, basically, when those get converted to an analog signal, which even component is analog, by the way. Like, games just look different on a cathode ray tube than they do on a digital LCD or plasma display. And that's something important to remember, and I forget about that sometimes, especially with, you know, PlayStation and N64, which have a bunch of, like, dithering and stuff on them that looks way different. Like, when you get a raw digital image from the PlayStation or the N64, like if you have the Ultra HDMI mod for your N64, and you decide to turn off the deconvolution and just, you know, take what is close to a raw digital image from the N64 as possible, then you'll see a bunch of dithering and stuff, and the N64 uses this anti-aliasing format. It basically just blurs, adds a bunch of horizontal blur, and it looks terrible. But if you play it on a CRT, well, you told him to buzz off. You looked in trouble for a while. Come on, hand it over. I'll take that banana for you. Make sure you wrap up warm. I got a feeling you'll need to. I do like how they add in little cranky cutscenes where he like makes fun of the bosses and stuff. They do a little bit more with that in DKC 2 and 3 and Game Boy Advance, which I will probably be playing eventually, or maybe even directly after this playthrough, but... we're moving on to Guerrilla Glacier, and let me just double check I didn't miss anything in that last world here. Yeah, we're all set. But yeah, we're moving on to Guerrilla Glacier here, and... Guerrilla Glacier is my least favorite world in the original game. In this version, it's not so bad. And again, it all has to do with the save system that Donkey Kong Country on the SNES decided to use, where it would basically be, you would have to wait until you reached a candy save point or a Funky's Flights. And if you had... So, what it would be was like, say you're playing, like, I think Monkey Mines, you reach candy after, like, the 4th level in that world. And then after that point, the game becomes really easy, or the rest of the world becomes really easy, because after every single level you can just go back and save, but for those first 4 levels you have to get through all of them without getting a game over, which for me is no problem, because I know this game really well, but for a new player that could be really annoying, because you're... You know, and that's why Guerrilla Glacier is such an annoying world to play in the original version, because they stick the candy save point and the Funky's Flights until like after like 5 of the 6 levels of the world. So you have to play through most of the world before you have a chance to save. And some of these levels are pretty challenging, like Snow Barrel Blast, which I think is the level we're playing right now. It's probably the hardest level in the world. And some of these bonus rooms can be a pain to get to as well. And if you get a game over, you have to redo basically the entire world, because you're not allowed to save until almost near the end of it. And it's not like some of the worlds before this, like Vine Valley, for example, you reach Funky's Flights before you get to Candy, but that means that you could just use Funky to travel back to an old world and save there. So you have a save point early on. But you know, in Guerrilla Glacier, you're shit out of luck. You have to beat the first 5 levels before you can save. So if you're playing the SNES version of this game, before you head into Vine Valley, I highly recommend farming some lives first. And it's kind of annoying that you even have to do that at all, but if you don't, and you're low on lives, and you try to play this world, and you don't know when the save point is and whatnot, then you could potentially be facing a really annoying game over situation. So my tip for farming lives is to go back to Jungle Hijinks, which is the first level in the game. You remember I even showed it off earlier that there are lives in the treetops, and so that right off the bat that's like 6 lives that you can get. And then after that, you have banana bunches, which will add even more lives. And then you have the Kong letters, that's another life right there. So you can get like a good 10 to 11 lives in Jungle Hijinks just by playing the stage like normal, essentially. And if you play through that a few times, you can get a good, nice stockpile of lives that'll help out. And, you know, obviously, you also have the bonus rooms, which are not shy about handing out extra lives like candy. And I'm not talking about the Candy Kong kind. But as you can see, I've already maxed out the lives counter here. And, you know, I haven't been trying real hard. I mean, part of that's because we've been going into bonus rooms, and another nice feature in the Game Boy Advance version is that when you save the game and turn it off and come back to it later, much like Conquer Live and Reloaded, it will save your lives total, which is a nice feature. Oh, I screwed that up. There's a bonus barrel down there, and you have to shoot yourself directly down, I think. This is probably one of my least favorite levels in the game. I really kind of hate it, actually. It might be a little bit better on Game Boy Advance, actually, because, you know, you've got the better camera going on. Yeah, so as you can see, there's the, oh shit, I missed the O. I'm gonna have to replay this level for the Kong letters, aren't I? Ah, shite. Alright. Alright, and that's all we got. That's all she wrote for that one. Okay, so what I hate about this level, and, you know, I might as well show off the secret exit, so to speak. There is a secret passage on the underside of this level. And that's how you actually how you're gonna get your Kong letters. And I might have even missed a bonus barrel that's in there. I don't think there is one, but yeah, I recommend taking that shortcut because that barrel cannon section is really annoying, especially if you have input lag, which I find the SNES version that going through the blast barrel cannons are a little bit more annoying to work with because of the because of lag. Like, you have to press it at a very specific time and it won't let you use a certain button. I find that it's a little easier here because of, you know, it's a bit more immediate, especially since I'm playing this lag-free. But anyway, I'm gonna head back into Snow Barrel Blast real quick and reclaim our other Kong letters. This could be a while, so I'm gonna cut. Alright folks, we're back, as you can see, and I'll show this off. I probably did like a little montage of me getting them, but I have collected all of them. So it looks like next up we have Slip Slide Ride, which is probably, like, there are a lot of levels in Guerrilla Glacier that I just really hate. And I don't know, this one, I feel like if there's one level in the game where the GBA frame hasn't really worked out for the best, it's probably this one. This is one of the only levels where I feel like I have issues seeing what I'm doing. And you'll see more of that coming up, so hopefully it won't take me 10 years to finish the stage, but, yeah. So, well, this will be our last level for the part, and hopefully I can finish it quickly. But as long as we're here with Espresso, we might as well try to nab some more lives. Well, not that it even matters, because I've already maxed out the counter. And it's like, so it's like this game just showers you with lives, and it's like this in both versions of the game, especially if you're bothering with bonus barrels. That's part of the reason I even managed to max it out, but, you know, between the animal bonuses and, you know, regular bonus rooms, and, you know, just lives you're just gonna get from grabbing a bunch of bananas, it's like, it's really hard to get a game over in this game, I'll say that much. And I didn't manage to get the multiplier, but it doesn't matter because it's already maxed out anyway. Yeah, I mean, it is, talking about something earlier. I wish I could remember what it was. But I do want to do like a little Donkey Kong Country revisited remake or rebreak sort of deal and talk about some of the other things I've noticed since I started recording with this new device and whatnot. I recommend that you come into this with Diddy-san here. As you can see that there is a bonus barrel there. If you try to get that barrel out with Donkey Kong, he'll lift it over his head, and if you manage to jump into that zinger on the top, you will lose the barrel, and then you have to kill yourself to get another shot at it, which I guess, in a moment of hypocrisy, is kind of the same shit that would happen in Returns and Tropical Freeze. Or like, if you screw up, you have to kill yourself to try again, which is just bad design. I was sick of that crap. It's like all these new platforming games come out, and it's just like in 1994 and 1995, a DKC 1 and DKC 2, and even DKC 3 got some of these things right. You know, you didn't have to kill yourself if you wanted to try again for a lot of this kind of stuff. You could just backtrack through the stage and just fucking do it. And it doesn't waste your time. And then you go play something like the new Kirby games, Sonic Lost World, and actually in Generations and Colors as well, where it'll be like you'll miss your opportunity to do something, and then you'll reach a point of no return in the stage, and then you're just screwed. You're just shit out of luck. And you have to either replay the stage from the beginning to grab this one thing you missed, or you have to kill yourself to like try something else again. What I really hate about the Sonic games in particular with like red rings is if you die, you lose the red ring. So they basically make it so that you have to get all of the red rings and then reach a checkpoint in order for it to save. Which is just, I just don't like that. I wish it could just be like I said, these games got it right in the mid-90s. I don't know what the excuse is for backpedaling on some of these design choices. But I digress. So we're back here in Unguard's bonus room, and I since learned that I do not need to get 600 of these tokens in order to get the photo. You only need 400. So I think that what that means is that these levels it's much harder to get more of these tokens in the Unguard stage than it is for some of the other ones. And might be wrong about this, but it really does seem like the countdown accelerates as you get further along. And that was a little bit too close for my liking, but we managed to snag ourselves 5 lives and the camera. So the reason I want to redo the episode, or not redo, like, there are some videos that I want to flat out redo, like, the Mario Remake or Rebreak episodes. I feel like my style or just my technical competence in terms of how I make these videos has increased just exponentially since I made those original Remake or Rebreak episodes. That was back in a time when I only had maybe 10 subscribers. Like, my other M review had only just gotten like 100 views. Like, it is impossible to get noticed on YouTube unless if you get lucky like I did with Remake or Rebreak. Or you have someone who can shout you out, like a certain YouTuber who seems to do collabs with every single person on the planet, who shall not be named. And yeah, so that's how you get noticed. And like I said, I was fortunate enough. But point is, at that time there was a different sort of frame of mind in terms of how I made videos, because like nobody was watching them. I'd gone for almost 6 months without breaking 100. Actually, I went pretty much a whole year without breaking 100. And then I look over at my friend Jeb, and he hit 100 in, like, probably about, I don't know, maybe it was, I can't remember when his Mario Party video came out, but it seemed like he reached that 100 milestone much quicker than I ever did. So it's like, and part of that is because he's got friends who can help tweet him out, like me. And he makes nice videos, so you guys should all go watch Jeb the Dark-Hooded or /BlackHoodedGamer. Here's a little link for you, but point is, when nobody's watching you, nobody's watching your content, which is the situation I found myself in back at the time that those Mario videos were originally made. I didn't feel like I had a whole lot of incentive to have the best equipment or best footage or best writing even that I needed. Like, I put effort into those videos, but it wasn't, like, now I'm obsessive over footage quality. And it's, the most minor things will annoy me. Like the fact that, for example, YouTube footage is only like, even in 1080p 60, you can only get like 8,000 kilobits per second, which kills me. And part of that's because of, you know, download speed. You gotta make sure that people's internet can keep up with the size of the file, and part of that's probably because their servers are probably full to bursting as it is, but I find that you need at least 25 megabits per second, and, you know, 8,000 compared to 8,000 megabits per second to make 1080p 60 footage look presentable. Especially if it's like native 1080p footage you're using, rather than something like this, which is upscaled. I find that upscaled footage looks fine in low bit rates, but still. Shit like that annoys me, whereas it wouldn't before. All of my footage was like in 360p Game Boy Player crap. That was what I was using back when those Mario videos were made. And yeah, I think it's safe to say that my standard of quality for this channel has increased a lot in terms of both footage quality, in terms of the competence of what I create, and in terms of how I write scripts. Like, when I made the Donkey Kong Country review, I spent way too long talking about the background, which is, you know, important. I didn't need to spend like 5 minutes on it, you know what I mean? And then you compare that to my little blip on Conquer, which I needed to do because I needed to explain, kind of contextualize where the remake came from and everything, and, you know, sort of the historical moment in which the original was released. But, you know, so it's just, I do feel like I need to flat out redo the Mario episodes, especially Yoshi's Island, because there are some things about that version that I just flat out didn't mention or ignored, like scripting those episodes. Like, nowadays for Remake or Rebreak, generally, almost always, I will do a full playthrough of both versions, including side content and whatnot. Just so I don't miss something. And back when I made those Mario episodes, I did not do a full playthrough of the original versions. I mean, and part of that's because, you know, Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario Lost Levels, those games have terrible continue systems, so I didn't really feel an incentive to actually beat them. But, you know, even with like Super Mario World, the Super Mario World episode, I did not do a full playthrough of Super Mario World on SNES. I only did a full playthrough of the Game Boy Advance version, because at the time it's just like, nobody's gonna watch this anyway, why should I bother to put the effort in? Whereas nowadays, and especially when I will redo it, I will be doing a full playthrough of both of them, just so that I have, you know, just so that I have a more complete mindset and can give you guys a more complete episode. But I would like to do just like one shorter video. Like, it'll be, the first half will be like my updated thoughts on these 3 remakes on GBA, and I might as well just use the footage I'm recording right now for those episodes, since I'll be doing everything anyway. And what the hell, I might as well do that during the Mediocre Marathon. So like, I don't know, like first half it'll be reviews of these 3 games, saying updated opinions, saying how much of a difference it makes to play this on a DS capture card. Jesus Christ, this episode is long. I did not intend for it to go on for 26 minutes. I might have to cut it off somewhere, but I don't want it to be mid-thought, so we'll continue this discussion in the next episode, I think. This will be episode 5. Yeah, so join me for episode 5 and we'll continue our discussion, but for now, I gotta get you guys out of here because this is a long-ass fucking episode. Alright, see you guys then.